Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
It is open-air baseball at Rogers Center on a gorgeous night. 18 degrees, slight breeze outside, and the Orioles are in town. First time Buck Showalter and the Orioles have been to Rogers Center this season. Baltimore won 2 of 3 at Camden Yards the last time these two met back in April. And the Orioles now are currently in first place. They're a game and a half ahead of the Boston Red Sox. Take a look at the lineup for Baltimore. Adam Jones, Hyun-Soo Kim, Manny Machado. Down in the 5th spot, Mark Trumbo. He's been hot. He is, over his last 31 games, has 20 extra base hits, 26 RBIs. He leads the majors with 20 home runs. And the catcher right behind him, the switch hitting Matt Wieters, over his last 16 games, he's due swinging a hot bat. 375, 21 for 60 with 8 extra base hits. This is a tough lineup, and right now, Pat, they're really swinging the bats well.
Boy, a lot of power in that lineup for the Baltimore Orioles. Marcus Stroman gets ready for this 13th start of the season. He's trying to fight his way out of a rut after a very strong start to his year. Marcus has allowed at least 6 runs in 3 of his past 4 outings. He's faced the Orioles 4 times in his career, including 3 starts. He also has a save against the Baltimore Orioles. He's only allowed 9 runs over his 25 innings versus the Orioles. Machado and Flaherty have taken Marcus deep. He's going to have to figure out what he has been doing wrong over his last few starts.
Defensively, the infield is going to be important tonight. Marcus Stroman throws a lot of ground balls. In the outfield, it is Saunders, Pilar, and Bautista from left to right. Josh Donaldson had a terrific day defensively yesterday in Detroit. Barney is the shortstop. Travis back at second. Justin Smoak at first. And Russell Martin behind the plate for Marcus Stroman.
Justin Smoak has been great over there at first base. We saw him dig out a couple of throws in the Detroit series. Of all the first basemen in the American League with at least 50 games at first base, Smoak is the only one who has not committed an error this season. We're talking about Eric Hosmer, the Gold Glover, and Abreu and Davis, some of the better fielding first basemen, but it's Justin Smoak with no errors.
Stroman is set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game to Adam Jones, and he tries to bunt it and bunts right through it. Josh Donaldson runs all the way down in, making as if Jones had bunted it.
Now that was funny. That looks like he really enjoys the game of baseball.
He was deep, obviously, with Jones. Adam has 9 home runs. Jones hitting in the leadoff spot.
Watch him one more time. He's playing deep against a powerful player like Jones. He just pretends like he feels the ground. Well, 1 out, everybody. 1 down, everyone.
Yeah. Not only did he make the play, but he threw him out. So Stroman's ahead 0-2. Since Jones has moved into the leadoff spot, the Orioles have gone 9-4. He's also hit .288, batting number 1 with 4 homers and 13 ribbies.
Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Like another team?
Yeah.
That didn't have your traditional leadoff type of hitter?
It doesn't make any difference who you are. If your club's struggling, managers are going to try to figure out something to get them going. They move Bautista to the leadoff spot. Now Adam Jones batting number 1.
You know, if you ask Buck Showalter, you know, about that, he says, well, who else should lead off? This isn't a team that has that traditional type of leadoff hitter like a lot of teams in baseball. They just don't have him. So why not put a veteran up there, a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark?
Well, Stroman got ahead 0-2, and now it's a full count. Jones wouldn't chase a couple of breaking balls. Hyun-Soo Kim is the on-deck hitter. He's in left field. Leadoff walk. Stroman walks Jones after jumping ahead 0-2.
That has been the problem right there for Marcus Stroman. He gets ahead 0-2, then he tries to nibble on that outside corner to right-handers, and he ends up getting to a 3-2 count and then loses them altogether. He was telling me in Detroit, he says, I got to get back to using that sinker to the arm side and then be able to spin the ball on the outside part of the plate. He's just been missing his glove, missing the glove of Russell Martin, missing his spots.
First pitch to Kim is outside. Hyun-Soo Kim got off to a slow start, and he had a terrible spring trying to make an adjustment to the major leagues. And he was asked about it. He said velocity is a little better and the movement is much more dramatic, and it's taken him a while to adjust.
Yeah, and that's typical of a lot of players that come over from Asia, that the pitching is just a little bit deeper, a little bit harder. Breaking ball just seems to be a little bit better.
See his numbers last year in Korea. 28 home runs, and he drove in 121.
Isn't that a common theme, though, from everybody who comes to the major leagues? Not just players from outside the country, minor leaguers that come up to the big leagues and say, wow, I didn't realize the breaking ball was so good.
Yeah, everybody that has velocity and movement, more than likely they're in the big leagues, no matter where they come from. Inside. Manny Machado batting third. He will be next. So full count. There goes Jones. Ball's hit on the ground. Smoke makes the play. Stroman's going to have to hurry. He gets there in time. Nice play by Smoke. Pat, you highlighted the right guy.
Well, he's a good first baseman. He was digging balls out in Detroit. He was making good plays. He's got an outstanding arm. That time he showed off some athleticism by getting up in the air. You see him pointing up in the air. You see how high I got up there? No chance to get Jones at second base. And then Marcus Stroman, you see him hop just a little bit, but he's got enough athleticism and speed to get over there. He wasn't real sure. He said, okay. And finishes off the play over there. He just outran the player to first base.
Boy, he's a good athlete. He stopped because he felt that might be over Smoke's head, and then he still had enough speed and athleticism to get there and step on the bag before Kim got to first. Manny Machado. We mentioned Machado was taken third overall in 2010's draft by the Orioles. Bryce Harper was first. Jameson Taillon was second.
Wow. He just got called up, didn't he?
Pitched yesterday for the Pirates. Breaking ball, line to left field. That's going to be up against the wall. Jones is in to score. Machado's headed for second. They got a shot, but throw is not in time. Manny Machado drives in the 38th run of the season to give the Orioles a 1-0 lead.
You know, you just talked about Bryce Harper, and everybody keeps talking about Harper being one of the best players in all of baseball, along with Mike Trout. What about Manny Machado and what he has done this year for the Orioles? Not just with the bat, but with the glove. Waits on that breaking ball right there and pounds it to left field to get the Orioles the first run of the ball game. They have got some superstar type of players in their lineup.
You can see what he's done against Toronto, a .397 average in his last 20 games. Last time he faced Stroman, he had a home run in Baltimore on April 19th. Here he has an RBI double. Adam Jones scores. 12th run he's scored since he's hit leadoff. Ball and a strike to big Chris Davis. Numbers are down for Davis, batting just .214. But he's still a threat with the long ball. There's a better breaking ball right there.
Yeah, in a good spot right there. Down. This Oriole lineup is just filled with home run hitters. Davis and Trimble, Machado, Jones. I mean, up and down the lineup. So you've got to be careful with them.
I think over the last several starts, because Marcus has been hit around a little bit, it's natural for a young pitcher to get a little gun shy. I think he's trying to be a little too fine. He's got to remember how good his stuff is and get back to being aggressive.
He was also talking about when we were speaking in Detroit. There's a good pitch. How about that movement? In a way, condensing all of the pitches that I have, and let's get back to my strengths, which is a good moving fastball with some sink on it. Look at that one move. A changeup and a good breaking ball. Instead of trying to have 6 or 7 different type of pitches and locations and all that, let's go back to the 3 that got me here and gave me some success. That at bat right there against Chris Davis was a prime example of that.
This is the major league leader in home runs, Mark Trumbo. He's got 20 home runs. Trumbo's career high back in 2013 with the Angels, he had 34 home runs. It's the only time he drove in 100 runs in his career. But he's off to a great start in Baltimore. He's a perfect fit with this lineup.
I think he's a perfect fit. You're right. He's athletic enough that he can play in the outfield where he's playing in right field. We've seen him at third in his career.
This ball is to right. Bautista's on the run. It's over his head. Manny Machado went back to tag up. The throw goes to second. Here's the relay home. They got a shot. And they got it. Manny Machado, for some reason, lost the count of the outs, and it cost the Orioles a run. They're going to keep the Blue Jays on the field. The Orioles are going to look at the replay. But Manny Machado, he didn't know how many outs there were.
Yeah, you're right. He went back to think about tagging up on this play, thinking there's only one out. I mean, if he takes off, he makes it easily, obviously, because it was a double. Let's see if he got his hand in there, if Russell was able to tag him. I think he tagged him before he got to the plate. Bautista runs it down, gets it in very quickly, in a heads-up play by Darwin Barney, who recognized that Machado was a little bit late getting off at second base.
Watch the tag by Martin. It looked like he tagged him on the shoulder, and well, what a heads-up play by Darwin Barney. Bautista made the right throw because there were two outs.
Yeah, you got to throw back to second base. There's the tag on the elbow right there.
Yeah, you can see his arm move after Russell swiped at him with the glove. Now is the hand on the plate? Boy, it might be. That's going to be a tough one.
Well, they never should have come to that, if you ask me. If Machado was paying attention right there, he would have scored easily. As soon as the ball was hit, he started going back to second base.
Yeah, he didn't know how many outs there were.
Yeah.
This replay review is powered by Samsung. Well, Manny's got a lot on his mind. He just found out he was suspended for 4 games as a result of the fight on Tuesday, when he charged the mound against Yordano Ventura. Ventura himself was suspended for 9 games. So Manny lost count of the outs.
You know, I don't think Russell got him the first time, if you will, when he swiped at him. I think he missed him, but he did tag him on the elbow. Now it just comes down to, was the hand on the plate before he was tagged? Watch Machado at the top of your screen. He's freezing. Not real sure. That's double all the way over the head of Bautista. But a heads-up play by Barney. Now there's going to be a play at the plate. And that is the home plate umpire, who is staying right there, Paul Nauer. Watch the first swipe at him. He doesn't get him, but he gets him on his elbow.
Yeah, I think that's too close for them to overturn. I don't think they can overturn the call on the field, which is out.
Is there enough evidence in the replay that shows that he was on plate before the tag? That's what it's going to come down to.
Taking a long time, and obviously it's a close play, and there's a run at stake. Blue Jays are already down 1-0. Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire, is the crew chief, so he joins the umpire that made the call, Paul Nauer. The call stands on the field. Manny Machado, forgetting how many outs there were, cost the Orioles a run. Good play by Darwin Barney. Heads up. It should be 2-0, but Manny Machado forgot how many outs there were, so that cost the Orioles a run. Blue Jays will take that mistake. Let's check out the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays. They are 3 games over 500, third in the American League East. Josh Donaldson, his last 11 games, the numbers are starting to look a little bit more like Josh Donaldson. He had a big 3-hit game yesterday in Baltimore, including a home run. And Michael Saunders has done a terrific job, especially against the Orioles. In the 3 games against Baltimore, he's 6 for 12, a .500 batting average for the season. Michael's batting .290 with 9 home runs.
Tyler Wilson, his 9th start of the season. He made 9 major league appearances for the Orioles last year. 5 starts, 4 relief appearances, 2 and 5 with a .439 earned run average. Faced the Blue Jays earlier this year in what was his final appearance out of the bullpen before he joined the starting rotation last time out. Not a whole lot of luck against the New York Yankees. His shortest start of the season in terms of innings, just 4 innings. He was tagged for 5 runs.
Swing and a drive deep to left field. This game is off the wall. The ball is up against the wall, and Bautista will get to second. He jumped all over that high fastball, and Bautista has his 15th double.
Tyler Wilson, sinker slider type of pitcher, but a fastball that doesn't overpower you. And if you can't overpower upstairs, this is going to happen. That looked like a cutter that was up right where Jose likes it. 370-foot line drive off the wall in left field. And the Blue Jays come right back and get that leadoff batter into scoring position.
The Blue Jays as a team have hit just 160 over the last 5 games. That's a good start to this ball game as Bautista rips a double off the wall in left. Josh Donaldson, we mentioned, he's hitting .316 over his last 11 games. Josh had the big game yesterday. That was almost a balk because he hesitated before he spun totally around. Bautista had really bounced off and gained ground while Wilson was looking at home.
And the middle infielders are playing back off of the dirt. Now here comes Jonathan Schoop to get a little bit closer. They were back, respecting that power of Josh Donaldson. So Bautista was taking a lot. Now he can take third.
Boy, there's the pitcher being distracted. Bautista got in his head, and before he cleared his mind, he bounces one in the dirt. Now Bautista's at third.
That's a breaking ball. Bounces it. No chance for Wieters to block that one to keep Bautista at second base. And just like that, the Blue Jays have a runner at third base.
(2-0). Donaldson for the season, 14 home runs, 33 RBIs. He's faced Wilson twice. He's 0 for 2 against the righty.
Josh has had to battle some injury problems this year, especially to his legs. Remember, he had a calf problem, and that then affected his hamstring, where he missed a game because of that. Then Liam Hendricks drilled him in his left thigh. He said that one really hurt and really set him back just a little bit. I think he's starting to get healthy, especially in his lower half. He still has that bone bruise on his right hand. Says he just hasn't felt right all season long.
He takes a walk, ball 4, so the first 2 reach against Wilson. Edwin Encarnacion. They try to get something going. Blue Jays are down by a run. Bautista doubled to start the inning, and then Donaldson walks now. Encarnacion.
That's what you want to see from your offense, right? You give up a run in the top of the inning, come right back.
Encarnacion checked his swing and then asked the umpire, Paul Nart, if it was a swing. He said no, it was a pitch, and it looked like it was off the plate inside. Edwin's had a tough time because the pitchers have really changed up what they're doing to him. It's a lot different than the way they pitched him last year.
Yeah, I asked him around the batting cage, are the pitchers pitching you a little different? He says, I'm seeing a lot of breaking balls, lots of breaking balls. And when I do get a fastball, it's always away from me, away from my power. I said, well, what are you trying to do?
High and deep to center. Jones on the run. Bautista's tagging at third. Jones makes the catch. Donaldson's headed towards second, and he makes it standing up. So just like that, Encarnacion has tied it up with a sac fly. His 47th ribby.
One of the things that Edwin said he's trying to do is when I get my pitch, not to miss it. Everything has been away. They've been pitching away from my power. And when I do get a pitch to hit, I can't miss it. I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to wait for my pitch. Well, he got his pitch, and he almost put 3 on the board with 1 swing. He just missed that. Probably hit it to the deepest part of this ballpark. But still will get an RBI.
RBI number 47 for Encarnacion. He is currently 4th in the American League in that department. They're checking on whether or not Donaldson left first base early, and he didn't, according to the first base umpire, Jeff Kellogg. So it's a 1-1 game. And here is Michael Saunders. As we mentioned, he's 6 for 12 this season against the Orioles. First pitch strike.
Curveball, curveball, curveball. That's all I see. Curveball, breaking ball.
And the first pitch was called the strike. It was about 6 inches off the plate inside. And that's what he's upset about. Nobody can hit like that.
No. That first pitch was way off the plate.
Fly ball to deep right field. That's over Trumbo's head off the wall. Here comes Donaldson. He knew how many outs there were.
Just 1. And he read it beautifully. First of all, he tags up from first and gets into scoring position. And then Michael Saunders is going to trade places with him with a ringing double. And I mean ringing double to right field. 15 doubles now for Michael.
That's his 20th RBI as Donaldson comes in to score.
This is a good piece of hitting. Watch that pitch. It looked like another cutter that was going inside, and he pulled his hands on in and got the barrel of the bat on that ball. Donaldson read it perfectly, knew that no one was going to catch that. And he could trot home with the tiebreaker.
Donaldson has now scored 47 runs. He's 3rd in the American League in that department. We mentioned Saunders now with 20 RBIs. Still another man in scoring position for Justin Smoke. These two teams have gone toe-to-toe the last several seasons, and when they get together, there's a lot of fireworks offensively.
Fireworks everywhere, right? These two teams going back and forth at each other. 2 years ago, the Orioles clinched against the Blue Jays at Camden Yards. Last year, the Blue Jays clinched against the Orioles in Camden Yards. So these guys have been going at it with a lot on the line the last couple of seasons.
Smoke for the season hitting .268 with 6 home runs. The Blue Jays won the season series a year ago, 11-8. They split the 10 games here, 5-5. Ball in the dirt.
Well, that worked out for Smokey. He tried to call time to the home plate umpire, but he thought it was too late. Looked like he was ready to jump out of the box, and then the breaking ball was low. Smokey had a couple of big hits for the Jays yesterday.
Hit a 2-run home run and added a double. Covers that outside pitch and fouls it into the seats. Two-two pitch, cut on and miss. Smoke strikes out. 2 down. Well, when you look at the ball clubs and how they have matched up the last couple of seasons, when you talk about offense, these two teams, whenever they meet up, there's a lot of offense involved.
Not a lot of pitching. Look at that. 5 runs they've averaged over the last 2 seasons, and tons of home runs. Whenever these two teams get together, you're going to see a lot of home runs. You're going to see a lot of runs scored. It's an offensive game back and forth. It seems like every time these two get together.
Catcher Russell Martin with a chance to add to the Blue Jays lead. Saunders at second. Two and 0. Boy, Bautista got things going when he ripped that double off the wall in left center. And Donaldson walked. Edwin with the sacrifice fly, and Saunders had a ringing double.
That has to be intimidating for a young pitcher, having to face those 3 guys right out of the chute.
2-0 to Martin. Breaking ball missed badly away. Now 3-0. Kevin Pillar is on deck. You might give Russell a green light here just to get him going a little bit.
Why not? If you get a pitch you like, fastball, let it go.
There's a base hit to center. Jones has got a good arm. Saunders is coming home. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Russell Martin with a green light. RBI 3-0 base hit.
He threw him a little cutter, trying to get that ball off the barrel of the bat, but it caught too much of the plate. And Russell, he's going to take that every single time. You got to let this guy swing. There's the cutter. Watch the ball start to go away, but it doesn't go away enough. Right off the barrel of the bat into center field. Jones is one of the best in center field. Comes charging in, picks it up, throws it, and the ball hit the mound, and it just died.
Dave Wallace, a pitching coach, with a quick visit to the mound, and it has been a rough stretch of games for Tyler Wilson. His last 4 starts, the numbers very inflated. Whip almost 1.5, and he's off to a rough start here. 3 runs on 3 hits so far.
The Orioles are searching for some starting pitching. They're expecting Giovanni Gallardo back soon.
Pillar goes after the first pitch. It's a high fly ball to right. Trumbull backing up. That'll end the inning, but the Blue Jays, after falling behind, come right back. They score 3 in the bottom of the first. Russell Martin with an RBI.
on this current Blue Jays roster was drafted later than reliever Jesse Chavez, who was selected in the 42nd round, pick number 1,252nd overall back in 2002. Now, Chavez told me that he was still in college and admitted that, frankly, he wasn't ready mentally to turn pro, but the opportunity was there and he had to work hard and just run with it. In his long journey to the show, he told me that AA was the biggest learning curve for him. He said the level of competition was getting better, and depending on whether the big club was close, he would see guys from AAA or the big leagues down. Chavez said he got really overwhelmed and tried to do too much on the mound, but said that is where he started learning not just to throw the ball, but to pitch. And Buck, Chavez, the only player in that 42nd round to make the big leagues.
That is a long trip from the 42nd round, and that's a good story. And Jesse just made up his mind he was going to put in the work, and it's worked out well for him. Here's a #1 pick, Matt Wieters. Came out of Georgia Tech, taken first by the Orioles. You had a pretty interesting draft experience in 1976.
Yeah, I went in the first round.
Well, first round by the Yankees. That had to be pretty exciting, getting drafted out of high school by the Yankees.
It was a little bit different then. I remember I went out to my high school and there was a phone call into the office saying, yeah, this is the Yankees. We just drafted you #1. I'm like, oh, okay.
It wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal. I was like, oh, what does that mean? But it was interesting. That year, there were 3 straight players from Cincinnati high schools taken, 15, 16, and 17 overall. Leon Durham was picked right ahead of me, if you remember the big bull.
Bull Durham.
Sure.
Who was the other guy?
Jeff Krause by the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, that's a great draft for a community like Cincinnati. Yeah, the draft has changed dramatically. I was drafted in January when there were 2 drafts. There was a June draft and a January draft. I was taken in the 2nd round by the Phillies, and it was like, well, that's good.
Okay, now what? Now what do you do, right?
You go off and play.
The money's changed a little bit, too. I remember the first pick in my year, first overall, got $100,000.
Yeah.
Don't they do that now just to show up for tryouts or something, you know?
Yeah, it's dramatic, and obviously the slotting has restricted how much money can be spent by each team. Everybody has a different bonus, and the pool money has really changed things a lot. But it's an exciting day for a lot of high school and college players. Alvarez rips it into right. Bautista backing up. He'll play it back in. Pedro Alvarez, a 1-out single.
This Marcus Stroman start is brought to you by BioSteel Sports Nutrition, the natural choice for everyday performance. Drink the pink.
Beautiful evening in Toronto. The roof is wide open and it's very comfortable. No humidity and the breeze has died down. It's just perfect. This is Jonathan Schoop, the second baseman. Schoop's having a good season. 8 home runs, 32 RBIs. He's starting to develop some power.
Been battling some injuries over the last few years, has slowed his development just a little bit. He's not your traditional type of second baseman. This is a big guy who's going to hit 25 home runs one day as a second baseman.
Ball on a strike. Line drive. Pilar to his left makes the catch. Alvarez scampers back to first.
Can you think of a bigger double play combination than what the Baltimore Orioles are throwing out there?
Manny Machado and Jonathan Schoop? I don't think so.
Both of them about 6'4".
Yeah.
And put together too.
Yeah, they're very strong, muscular guys playing in the middle infield. So Ryan Flaherty will step in. Flaherty has been playing a lot more with the injury to J.J. Hardy. Flaherty's at third base tonight. 24th start at third. Hardy went down on May 2nd. And they've really missed their everyday shortstop. Bouncing ball. Barney will take his time, fires to first. The inning is over. The Orioles get a base hit. They leave a base runner. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Marcus Stroman and the Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead.
Comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. And fans, a reminder, if you're flying to catch a ball game, why not book a WestJet Plus fare? It's more than a seat. It's a premium experience for a smart price. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. You can see a lot of fans out in the WestJet flight deck enjoying this comfortable evening here at Rogers Center. Devin Travis going through a little bit of a rough patch right now. Devin is 0 for his last 15. His last hit was the home run he hit in Boston in the opener of that series.
He was saying today that, gosh, if I can only get one of my patented line drives to right field, I feel like I'm going to take off. Pulling off of the ball just a little bit. I'm thinking about hitting the ball to right field, but it just hasn't happened for me yet.
Breaking ball just a bit high. It's 2-1. You know, and of course, Devin didn't have spring training. He was still rehabbing that shoulder, and he had his rehab assignment cut short because Troy Tulowitzki injured his leg. It just takes a process, and he's a young player. He spent his first year. Yeah,
like that pitch right there. That was the pitch right there, and he's talking to himself right now, saying, "I should have hit that pitch. That was a good one. That was a fastball right down the middle, and I fouled it straight back." And that's all timing and recognition and playing for a while.
Breaking ball. He had a pretty good swing at that, but fouls it into the seats. And these players, they understand what's going on. Troy Tulowitzki is going to be back next Monday. Somebody's got to go. And you can bet everybody's thinking about it. They don't talk about it, but they're thinking about it. Man, I got to get some hits.
Well, I think that's the worst thing you could do. I know that's what they're thinking and that's what they're saying, but that's the worst thing to do because you're adding pressure to yourself. You're putting a little bit more pressure on you instead of just going out there and just playing the game. The bottom line is he needs to play every day because he's a talent. And he's going to be a big part of what this team is all about. But he needs to play every day.
There's a hit. Could be extra bases. Travis is around first. He's headed for second. He'll stop there with a leadoff double. Nobody out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Yeah, we saw that play a little earlier today, and he was hustling down the line and took a bad step, and it is at least a sprain, and sometimes that's going to end up on the disabled list. He's day to day, but if that thing swells up, he's got a shot at being on the DL.
Yeah. And that would be a big blow, taking a big bat, and they're starting shortstop.
Darwin Barney takes a pitch inside off the plate. Blue Jays have had leadoff doubles in each of their first 2 innings. 4 hits so far for the Blue Jays. 3 doubles and a single. That's how you keep pressure on a pitcher. Blue Jays done a good job of taking some borderline pitches against Wilson.
They started hitting extra bases in that Detroit series yesterday, especially yesterday. The home runs and the doubles and the triples and everything. So maybe everybody is starting to get together and starting to get hot all together at one time.
Davis has a good arm, but Travis got a good break. He was thinking about going across the diamond, but Devin Travis broke quickly and moves to third on the ground out.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Rogers 4K TV. Get closer to the action with 4 times the resolution of HD alone.
So Jose Bautista, who doubled and scored in the first, he'll bat here in the second. Bautista hit his 15th double. His first time up.
Infield about halfway, which is surprising. We're going to play it halfway in the infield just in case there's a ball right at one of the infielders. They'll be able to throw home. Devin Travis, I'm sure they're telling him to make this ball go through. You're already in scoring position. You don't want to run into an easy out.
Well, and you know Bautista's going to get a good pitch to hit. He has been very selective, and you got Donaldson behind him. So you betcha that Travis has been told make it go through.
Yeah, anything on the ground, unless it's a high chopper off the plate and you can read it right away. Other than that, stay close to that bag and tag up on a fly ball.
Bautista wants to see that breaking ball again.
Yeah.
That one was inside, and Wilson left it right out over the plate. Three and one now. Donaldson is on deck. JD walked his last time up and came around to score.
Blue Jays have been #1 in baseball at seeing pitches per plate appearance. All starts with Bautista being very patient at the plate. There's that breaking ball again.
They came right back with it. So 3 and 1, you throw a breaking ball, you come back with it 3 and 2.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Bautista's got to know that, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's the kind of guy who will look for it. He'll look for that pitch here if he gets that breaking ball. And he's quick enough if he crosses him up and throws him a fastball to hit that.
Got a fastball and popped it up. Yeah, you can look breaking ball off Wilson. He's not a guy that throws it in the upper 90s where you have to cheat to get to the fastball.
And you can still hit his fastball, and all you have to do is tell yourself to stay short on the fastball. Don't try and hit it too far. Just stay short, and everything else will be fine. But you can look for that breaking ball.
Another 3-2 pitch. Bautista fights it off and drives it into right. Travis comes in to score. Another RBI for Bautista. That gives him 40.
And that's exactly what happened right there with Jose Bautista. He was thinking breaking ball in the back of his mind, but he was going to stay short just in case he threw him a fastball, and he sunk a fastball in on his hands. And he stayed short. Watch how short his swing is. Look at this. Whoop. Right to the baseball. Inside out. Got beat just a little bit, but that's okay. You got a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. That's how you pick the run up.
So the Blue Jays have been able to cash in both of their leadoff doubles so far in this game. Now it's Josh Donaldson. He pops it up. Chris Davis into foul territory. He makes the catch. 2 down.
You can see in the outfield how deep they are, number one, in left field and Trumbo in right field, but they're bunching in the middle. They're giving the Blue Jays the left field line and the right field line, figuring that's where they're going to be playing and where the ball's going to be going.
Edwin Encarnacion had an RBI sac fly in his first at bat.
The corner outfielders for the Orioles are not great outfielders, if you will. Kim and Trumbo, they're more in there for their bats, and they'll do some damage with their bats. That's a defensive and alignment just to play it safe.
Dylan Mundy starting to loosen up for the Orioles. And Dom Chidi, the bullpen coach, said, let's go, get it loose now. Managers hate to go deep into your bullpen in the first of 4 games. High fly ball. Backing up at Scope, the second baseman. He's in the outfield, makes the catch. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays add another run. They take a 4-1 lead. Jose Bautista has scored a run and driven in a run. This base hit to right drives in number 40 for Bautista.
Exciting news for you. Devin Travis will be signing autographs at J Shop Toronto Eaton Center. That's tomorrow, Friday, June 10th, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Get there early. For more information, visit bluejays.com/autograph appearance.
Well, Hazel, if you want to meet a nice young man, make sure you go to Eaton Center tomorrow to the Jays Shop, because Devin Travis is one of the many terrific young guys on this ball club, and he is a super young man. A chance to get his autograph tomorrow. Adam Jones, he walked and scored in the first. Line drive base hit over Barney in the left field. Jones hits a leadoff single. These are tough lineups.
He threw a great sinker for strike one and then elevated another fastball that was up, and it was hit hard by Jones just out of the reach of Barney. But you're right. You get a guy on, and then they got this guy who can pop the ball out of the ballpark. And lefty, righties, I mean, they're everywhere. Not just the Orioles. The Blue Jays can say the same thing.
Young-Soo Kim, the left fielder. You know, I think in general, and I'm speaking about younger pitchers like Stroman, in general, they have a tendency to give hitters way too much credit. I think when you have good stuff like Stroman, you should shoot for the big part of the plate early. And that ball, boy, that got away from Russell. He caught a break because it hit the umpire's shin guard.
His breaking ball, and that's another thing that Marcus said that he wants to get back to throwing, using the breaking ball in certain situations, is really spinning tonight. Martin tries to backhand this ball, and you're right off of the umpire, Paul Nauert, and it stays right there, so Jones can't move up. I think Marcus also, you know, on top of giving him credit like you were saying, there were so many times where he was, okay, let's go sinker in, let's go sinker away, let's go slider backdoor, let's cut the ball inside, and then, you know, backdoor, front door, all of that. Let's keep things a little bit more simple and pound the strike zone with quality pitches.
You know who had trouble like that in his career? Kelvin Escobar, because he had so many good pitches like Stroman. Had a tendency to just mix them in at different times and never really mastered any of them. But Marcus has a wide assortment of very good pitches. There's a great sinker right there.
You know, if you can master 3 pitches and have above average stuff, and I mean master by being able to throw it in any count and hit your spot with it, not just throw it as hard as you can. You got to be able to hit your spot. If you can do that, everything else is just gravy.
Stroman hits Kim there, and now the first 2 reach here in the 3rd.
That's what I mean about hitting your spot when you need to. He was ahead of him 2 strikes, and he just couldn't put him away. Looked like they were going to try and go inside with a breaking ball, and he spun it right off his thigh.
Well, this is certainly a lineup you don't want to put those guys on base. It's a powerful lineup, and anywhere in the lineup they've got home run hitters. Manny Machado had an RBI double his first time up. He's got 23 doubles and 15 home runs. Nobody out.
All right, 2 excellent pitches right there. Now you have your meetings and your scouting reports before the game, what you're going to do. This is what your scouting reports are for right here. What are you going to do to get him out? What's that pitch?
They hung one, and Machado's able to get a bat on it, trying to go away with that breaking ball. George Bamberger was a great pitching coach for the Orioles for years. Then he became the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, and I went to Milwaukee, and he said, when you get a hitter 0-2, throw him your best fastball down and away. That's simple. He just wanted to be aggressive down and away.
I think you want to throw also, and this is probably ties hand to hand what you were just saying, throw the pitch that you have the most control with, because you don't want to make a mistake. And if it's a fastball down and away, if it's a fastball, throw your fastball, because chances are you can control that. Rick Dempsey used to say that. Where did he grow up?
With the Orioles.
With the Orioles. 0-2, fastball down and away, guaranteed.
Base hit. Donaldson dove for it. It was past him into left as Manny Machado gets a fastball and rips it past the 3rd baseman. Machado is 2 for 2.
jumped ahead of all these hitters, and he just has not been able to put them away. That looks like a cutter, something that really stayed on plane. And a great hitter hits it hard.
So now the big power hitter, Chris Davis. He took a called strike his first time up. That is a perfect pitch, down and away on the corner. Pat Venditti loosening up. That's interesting. Might just be a little bit of a wake-up call. Oh, 0-2. Chris Davis, of course, has always put up big numbers against the Blue Jays. He's got 31 career home runs and a .296 average.
He's got some great power. Now you can expand. He's ahead again.
Line to Bautista. Jones tags. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Adam Jones reacted perfectly on that line drive. He didn't hesitate. He went right back and tagged up and scored. So it's a 4-2 ball game.
One more time. You don't want to go too far when you're at third base and nobody out. You got a big hitter like Chris Davis at the plate. Nowhere to go.
Mark Trumbo. First pitch strike. Trumbo hit a double in the first inning, but didn't get an RBI because Manny Machado forgot how many outs there were and was thrown out at the plate.
And we showed that one graphic of these teams back and forth.
That's a base hit. They're stopping the runner Kim as Saunders gets the ball back in quickly. And Trumbo is 2 for 2.
And that could come back to cost of what we'll see, because these games are always so close, it seems. Trumbo just muscles that ball through the infield. No chance for Kim to score from second base.
Pete Walker out to help Marcus Stroman see if he can't sort things out. The Orioles have 6 hits. And they've hit the ball hard. Davis's sac fly was a line drive to right. So Matt Wieters, he hit a ground ball his first time up. Marcus Stroman would love to see another ground ball right here.
That's the problem with the Orioles, Buck. They don't hit many ground balls. They're a fly ball hitting team, aren't they? You don't get too many balls on the ground. They don't have a lot of team speed.
There's a ball on the ground. Smoke makes a nice play. They get one at second. No time for a return throw. Kim comes in to score, so it'll be an RBI for Matt Wieters. Trumbo is retired on the fielder's choice. Wieters picks up the RBI. That'll give him 26, and it's a 4-3 Blue Jays lead.
Tell you, it hasn't been easy for the Blue Jays over the last 3 or 4 series. I mean, they have played some teams that are loaded offensively. Boston Red Sox, then the Detroit Tigers, and now here come the Baltimore Orioles. Might be the 3 best hitting teams in the American League this year.
Pedro Alvarez. He singled to right his first time up. Alvarez batting .220, but he is no slouch at the plate. He's got big time power.
He's another guy who's a perfect fit for this team. From the left side,
Look out. There goes the bat all the way past first as Alvarez lost the grip on that bat.
Big home run hitter when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Doesn't get cheated.
And that went all the way down the right field line past the coach's box, and Alvarez will get some prime time, get a better grip on that bat. When Alvarez left Pittsburgh, he was 13th on the franchise home run list. He had 131 home runs for the Pirates.
Another #1 pick on draft day.
Fouled off. 1 and 2, 2 outs. Runners at the corners. Machado's at third base. Matt Reeder's at first, and the fans trying to rally behind Stroman here. Strike 3 call. Marcus Stroman strikes out Alvarez. The Orioles score a pair, but they strand at 2. Michael Saunders has an RBI double. He scored a run. Justin Smoke, Russell Martin, he too has an RBI already. Congratulations to Cal Quantrill and his family. Of course, Paul's got to be a very proud papa right now. They had a lot of expectations and figured that he was going to go in the first round, but that's a terrific announcement to hear as a family.
Congratulations to Paul and the family and to Cal. And I'm a little upset. I was hoping that the Blue Jays were going to have a shot at him and we'd be calling his games.
Yeah, he's not going to drop that far for sure, and that's terrific news. Coming back from Tommy John, and he said, you know what, I'm just going to rehab, and they'll have to go on what I've done in the past.
And that's pretty good.
Michael Saunders with a 2-1 count. This is going to reach the seats out of play. It's a 4-3 game, and if you follow these two ball clubs over the years, you know that this is a typical back and forth kind of start to this game. And the Orioles lost a run in the first. Manny Machado got thrown out at home plate because he forgot how many outs there were on a double by Mark Trumbull. Saunders strikes out, first out of the bottom of the third.
Swing for the fences and save during the DIY expert sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Justin Smoak struck out in the first. Wilson has 2 strikeouts now. Now the breaking ball, it's 0-2. Wilson was a 10th round pick in 2011 by the Orioles. He's made his way up. He made 9 major league appearances for the Orioles last season. A 2-2 record. You know, you talk about the Orioles looking for starting pitching, and they might get Giovanni Gallardo back on Sunday, but everybody in this division has concerns. I mean, there are no locks, of course, and it's been a back and forth start to the season as far as the division goes.
Is there something like that? Is there a perfect team out there? No, there's never a perfect team. Every team has some shortfalls. So I like the Blue Jays starters. I like what they have there, and I think it's just a matter of time before the hitting comes around. But there's always, it might be bullpen for some teams, it might be team speed, maybe not enough power, maybe the starting pitching's a little thin. I mean, everybody's got their warts, right?
When you look at the Orioles, came into this ballgame batting .259. Of course, we all know about the Boston Red Sox and how well they hit, but Boston's got some concerns in their rotation. Smoke. Oh, he's robbed by Chris Davis. That looked like it was going to get over Davis's head. That the Orioles first baseman takes one away from the Blue Jays first baseman.
Chris Davis is a very good athlete. He's a big guy. We all know about the home runs and all of that, tape measure home runs, but he's a very good athlete. Watch him get himself set, time it perfectly, and get way up there to take away that hit from Justin Smoak. Chris Davis has played some third base in his career. He's played into the corner outfields and left field and in right field. He's settled in at first base. Very athletic move.
Russell Martin got the green light on 3-0 and hit an RBI single to center. It doesn't look like much, but Russell Martin can look up on the scoreboard and see a 200 average. It's been a slow, steady climb, but he's starting to come around at the plate. Got off to a tough start. The RBI in the first gives him 16.
That's one hurdle, right? You get to there and say, okay, now I want to just keep moving forward. He had a nice little hot streak for about 3 or 4 games. And then cooled off just a little bit, but I think his at-bats have been better. A little bit more solid contact.
Takes a close pitch inside. It's 3-1. Kevin Pillar flied out to end the first. He'll bat next if Russell can reach base. Lots of breaking balls from Tyler Wilson.
Ever since that first inning, we've started to see a lot of breaking balls from Tyler.
And throw it again. Missed with that one, and Russell will walk. Second walk issued by Wilson. That'll bring Kevin Pillar to the plate. The Orioles are 35-23. They have a game-and-a-half lead over the Boston Red Sox, 4.5 over the Blue Jays. And Baltimore has won 4 straight. They just swept the Kansas City Royals.
They hit it the right way too, didn't they? We were talking about that earlier about Manny Machado getting drilled, and then they come out starting hitting home runs. And look, Showalter was saying, you know, if you want to make a statement, that's the best way to make a statement. Hit home runs and win ball games and sweep series. You don't need to talk about it. Go out there and do it.
Popped up on the infield. Chris Davis, the first baseman, makes the catch. The Blue Jays leave a base runner. Will go to the 4th. Blue Jays have a 4-3 lead. Here comes the ultimate cleanup crew, brought to you by Home Hardware's exclusive line of the ultimate hard-hitting and tough-on-grind cleaning products.
Blue Jays Baseball Academy will be hosting 14 Honda Super Camps across Canada. Learn techniques from former Blue Jays such as Roberto Alomar, Devon White, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield, and Dwayne Ward. Register now at bluejays.com/camps. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. As the Blue Jays summer camps are really pretty popular. The Honda Super Camps have all those great Blue Jays alumni as instructors. So make sure you check out their schedule and sign up. Jonathan Scope makes a 2-0 count from Stroman. Bouncing ball to third. Nice bounce for Donaldson. He throws Scope out. 1 down.
It's time to convert your big outdoor tasks into short, effortless work. Make the great outdoors even greater with Honda Power Equipment.
Just in case you didn't have time for dinner before you came to the ballpark. Brian Flaherty, the third baseman, he bounces one up the first base line, and Stroman will flip the first. 2 easy outs here in the 4th. You know, you mentioned Stroman at the start of the show about the fact that this is his 37th start. He's got a 19-7 record over the span of basically a full season.
Yeah, through his first 33 starts. If you stretch it out, he's 20-8 actually in his 36 starts in his career. But a full season in the major leagues is 33 starts basically. He's 19-7. That's 219 innings, 172 strikeouts, a 244 batting average, and a 357 earned run average. Would you take that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely you would take that. Oh, he also has a save in that also, but 58% ground ball percentage. What I think might be happening now is the hitters know all about Marcus Stroman. They've seen enough tape, they've faced him enough, they're making adjustments against him, and this is the adjustment phase right now for Marcus. Where do you go from here?
Ball and a strike to Adam Jones. Jones has walked and singled. He's scored 2 runs.
We were talking about this the other day, Buck, about hitters having a 1,500 at-bats in the major leagues. To have a season, then the adjustment, and then to adjust back. This might be the adjustment period right now for Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, he's been exposed. Everybody knows what he throws now, and they have a lot of information on him. Boy, that was a terrific at-bat by Stroman against Jones. 3 up, 3 down, just 8 pitches for Stroman to retire the side in order.
Different kind. 7 Canadian teams searching for an impact player. Meet the future of your team at the 2016 NHL Entry Draft, June 24th, right here on Sportsnet. And Buck, we are looking forward to the Blue Jays' first pick of the draft. They're going to select 21st overall.
Well, Hazel, teams can really restock their system with a successful draft, and last couple of years the Blue Jays haven't really had the kind of draft you'd like to get. It'll be interesting. This is a new front office and their draft. This ball is hit to right by Devin Travis, but easy play for Trumbo. But when you draft, not only the first 10 drafts, but it's the rest of the draft where you get what the Blue Jays refer to as that role 4 player, the guy that's going to be a big leaguer. Might not be a star, but he's going to be a big league player. Somebody along the lines of Darwin Barney, or somebody that's really reliable, that can add to a championship caliber team.
Kevin Pillar.
Kevin Pillar is a perfect example. They might not be stars, but you need them on championship teams.
Baseball players, guys who know the game, and the first, I think, 5 rounds, that's where you got to find your impact players, especially if you have a high pick in that first round. Blue Jays have had, over the last 5 years or so, they've had some high picks that they just couldn't sign.
This is popped up. Chris Davis, this time in fair territory, makes the catch on the pop-up.
One of those players was Tyler Beatty, if you remember that name. He was drafted. Blue Jays didn't sign him. They got a compensatory pick the next year in the same slot, and they picked Marcus Stroman. So they hit on that one in my mind.
They had 4 picks in the first round, or 5 picks in the first round of the 2012 draft. And Stroman was the second player they picked, and they had 5 picks in the first 60 rounds, 60 slots. A couple of those players aren't even playing now.
They're not even in the organization. And some of them that are playing, they're still in A-ball, still taking some time. The only one that has made an impact at the major league level has been Stroman.
Jose Bautista. Good start to his night. He had a double and an RBI single so far in his 2 trips to the plate. The Blue Jays in that 2012 draft took DJ Davis 17th and Stroman 22nd. Matt Smorl, big left-handed high school pitcher, in the 50th spot. Mitch Ney, a third baseman, 58th, and Tyler Gonzalez 60th. Gonzalez is out of baseball. Mitch Ney has been dealing with an injury. Matt Smorl got hit by a line drive last year in Bluefield and hasn't played since.
They took a chance on a guy in the 3rd round that might work out for him. Anthony Alford. He's an A-ball, really. He's a football player. He's just learning to play baseball again. Gave up football and he was having his problems in A-ball. But they like him as an athlete.
Bautista's been on board all 3 times. Another walk. He leads the American League in that department. Josh Donaldson has walked and popped out. Josh had a terrific day yesterday. He had a single to right in his first at bat, a 3-run home run to left in his second at bat, and a triple to almost dead center in his 3rd at bat.
3 hits, 3 runs, and 3 RBIs in a ball game. You know, that's the 7th time that he has done that over the last 3 years. That's the most among all major leaguers over that span. 3 hits, 3 runs, and 3 RBIs. And he made a pretty decent play in the field also.
Made a terrific defensive play off of the bat of Miguel Cabrera in the 3rd inning. There's a drive to the alley and right. Trumbo over. He missed it. Bautista's going to score. Donaldson's headed for second. He'll make the turn. Scopes got the ball. Here's the throw to third. Not in time. Flaherty comes down on top of Donaldson. Everybody seems to be okay at third. Bautista scores.
You know, that looked like the triple that Donaldson hit in yesterday's ball game up the alley in right center field. The ball was slicing back to Trumbo, and it looked like Mark was going to have a shot at catching it. Donaldson stays back on that ball nicely and just drives that high pitch into the gap in right center field. Trumbo came over. Looks like he had a shot at it, missed it. Now the ball went up against the wall, and it was initially dropped by Adam Jones, and I think Donaldson was going to stop at second base. Sees that the ball's down, he was going to stop, but then Jones mishandled it again, so he's off to the races.
Scored a triple for Donaldson, his second in as many games. Well, that's a pretty swing. When he gets it going in that direction, pitchers are in trouble. Blue Jays have a 5-3 lead.
Two outs, nobody on. Get your best hitters up there as many times as you can.
That Parrot's looking for a ride. Another breaking ball to Encarnacion, and as Pat mentioned earlier, he's getting a steady diet of breaking pitches.
That's the one thing that he said that he's seeing a lot more of this year. Breaking ball after breaking ball after breaking ball, and when he does get a fastball, it's away from him. He said, when I get my pitch, I got to hit it. I can't miss it.
Oh, 0-2. Nice grab by Wieters. Jose Bautista is always aware of anything going on with his body, and he does a terrific job of staying loose, stretching during the course of a game. He's been running a lot so far tonight.
He's on base all the time.
Fly ball. Trumbo coming in. That'll end the inning. Let the Blue Jays get another run. An RBI triple off the bat of Josh Donaldson. We'll go to the fifth. 5-3 Blue Jays. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie and Greg in the Samsung broadcast studio. In the major leagues, and we'll take a look at the Blue Jays first round picks from 2005 and 2012. And when you really break it down, they didn't have very much success. Ricky Romero had a little success, as did Travis Snyder and J.P. Arancibia, but you're looking for those impact guys like Mike Trout and Matt Wieters and guys that are Manny Machado-ish, if you will.
Well, those guys were in the top 3 and top 5. The Blue Jays just haven't had that except for Ricky Romero. And yes, they have missed. Some of those years they had a couple of first-round picks. That's why we showed 10 of them over the last 8 years. They actually had a shot at Mike Trout and passed on him. Took a pitcher. I think it was Chad Jenkins. Took Chad Jenkins. But a lot of teams passed on Mike Trout. I think Trout was down in the 20s that he was picked. It happens every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just overlook guys, and you just never really know how it's going to play out.
The knock on Mike Trout was, well, he's from Jersey, and they didn't get a chance to see a lot of him. And there was, he didn't play a whole lot of baseball in high school because of the weather.
He came from South Central Jersey too, and there's some great athletic schools up north, in the north end of Jersey and North Central, but he was down around Vineland, New Jersey, in a small town, and his dad was a football coach. He played football the first year in high school and then concentrated on baseball. But you're right, he didn't get a lot of exposure.
Yeah, and that's why he slipped in the draft, and a lot of teams could have had him, and he was actually the second pick by the Angels that year in the first round.
Young Soo Kim got hit by a pitch in the third, came around to score the third Orioles run.
Blue Jays have had some success, though, I think, over the last few years, maybe the last 5 or so years, supplemental picks or compensatory picks for losing some free agents. Aaron Sanchez fits that bill. He was picked after the first round in that compensatory phase, as was Noah Syndergaard by the Blue Jays.
3-2 pitch fouled off by Kim. But there is so much information now. I mean, we start developing draft eligible projection lists when kids are in freshmen and in high school, and they really track them. Line drive to center. Pilar is there. Let's see. First out of the top half of the fifth.
Well, it looks like Marcus Stroman is starting to pound the lower part of that strike zone now, using that fastball. He was saying that I got to get back to my strengths. My strengths are using that arm side sinker. And all that means is, if you look at where Stroman is standing on that mound, the arm side, draw a line to home plate, that's where he wants to throw that sinker down and in to the righties, down and away to the lefties. And then spin a ball when I need to.
Manny Machado hits a tough hop to Donaldson. No problem at all. Another ground ball out for Stroman.
That's what he does best when he's pounding down there, pounding the lower parts of the strike zone. He's going to get a share of ground ball outs. He leads Major League Baseball in that category.
You see Stroman nodding, and he's nodding at Russell Martin. After that ground ball to third, he turned and acknowledged the pitch selection by Martin, and then continued to acknowledge that. Chris Davis fouls it back.
Might have been a cutter, and he says to his catcher, good call, good call. I'm not going to think, I'm going to go with what you say.
Couple of good pitches to Davis. He's ahead 0-2. Look at, he already gave him a sign. That was interesting. Davis walked away and Russell flashed a sign. Stroman shaking him off. Don't forget what's worked. Took a shot at that outside corner. The thing about a ball down and away, it is the furthest from the hitter's eyes, and you really have to make a commitment to hit that pitch. And when you really think about it, I mean, Davis has got great power away. He can hit the ball out of the park to straight away left field, but it's hard to do that on a real low pitch. This is popped up, and nobody's going to have a shot at that. Donaldson was in the shift, and he wasn't going to get over there if it stayed over the field.
The most opposite field home runs hit this year is by Miguel Cabrera, 6. Chris Davis has 3. He's in the top 10 in the major leagues, so he just muscles balls out of the ballpark, but you better get it down. And I contend if you make your pitches, you can get big league hitters out.
Going upstairs. They didn't get it up high enough, and Davis is able to put it in play. Fights it off for a single to left. Russell Martin wanted that fastball up. Two-out single for Davis. Now you got to deal with Mark Trumbo. But let's watch how they work to Trumbo, Martin, and Stroman.
Carefully, I hope. He's in one of those hot streaks right now. He got 20 home runs, and he's hitting everything.
There's that great pitch down and away for strike 1. Trumbo, he leads the majors with 20 home runs. He became the first player in the majors to hit 20 home runs this season. That's something that Baltimore has become used to.
They've done that a few times over the years, haven't they? They always seem to have big hitters.
Yeah, the home run leaders in the major leagues. Todd Frazier, the White Sox, with 19. Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies, and Adam Duvall, Cincinnati, with 17. Chris Davis was the first to 20 in 2013. Martin tried to backhand it, and Davis is going to move in to scoring position. The ball got away just far enough for Davis to advance.
You have to advance. Time he goes outside again. It looked like it might have been a changeup down and away. Russell can't get over there to block it.
Two balls and a strike. Now it's 3-1. Joe Biagini starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are shaking up their rotation a little bit down in that bullpen. Trumbo fouls it back.
He had a cut on that one. He was trying to send that one into orbit.
Catcher Matt Wieters is on deck. Bouncing ball to second. Travis has it. Trumbo's retired. The Orioles leave a base runner. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Blue Jays have a 5-3 lead. The Penguins would love to win it at home, and it's been a while since that has happened. So quite a shootout early on. Four goals in the first. Quite a shootout here. It's 5-3, and we're going to the bottom of the 5th. Michael Saunders to start things on. Goes after the first pitch. That is Ryan Flaherty, the third baseman, who is out in right field. And he's going to stay right there for Justin Smoke.
It's an interesting defensive alignment. We've talked about J.J. Hardy being injured and Manny Machado sliding over to his natural position at shortstop, but he's a great third baseman. He'll play in on those type of overshifts by the Orioles, and Flaherty will go out into the outfield.
Yeah, Flaherty is the super utility guy. He plays all over the diamond. And Manny Machado has made 6 errors since moving to shortstop. And Hardy was injured. Hardy fractured his left foot on May 2nd, and Manny Machado has taken over since then. And the Orioles have had a rough time defensively. They've committed 24 errors in the 34 games since Hardy was put on the DL.
It's like a domino effect, if you will. They lost a very good quarterback at shortstop who makes every play, and they then moved from Machado from third to short and brought in Flaherty to play some third base. So 2 positions have been weakened.
Well, Manny Machado played 23 games at third base next to Hardy, and he committed just 1 error. So they have weakened 2 positions. It's kind of curious that they would move Machado to not just leave him at third and see if you can't get a more consistent defensive player at short.
Yeah, just find a guy who can catch the ball for you. Maybe it's outside your organization, a veteran somewhere. But Buck has talked about that. He said, you know, we're going to win with the players that we have here. They've had their share of injuries too. Caleb Joseph is on the disabled list. Yolani Gallardo's been on the disabled list. We just talked about J.J. Hardy's hurt.
Smoke strikes out for a second time. 2 down.
This Blue Jays Rogers 4K broadcast is powered by the Samsung 4K SUHD TV.
Beautiful sunset here. Great skyline of Toronto. Russell Martin has a single and he's walked. Tyler Wilson's done a nice job of settling down. They had the bullpen up in the second inning.
He's throwing breaking balls on every pitch. That's one way to neutralize all these right-handed batters. He's been throwing a ton of breaking balls.
Ball on a strike. He snuck that fastball on the inside corner to Russell. These two teams are going to see a lot of each other in the next 11 games. Orioles and Blue Jays will play 7 ball games. 7 of the next 11 games for the Blue Jays will be against the Orioles. The other 4 will be against the Phillies.
They've been a nice little surprise this year.
Philadelphia has done a pretty good job there, 29-31. So pops it into the seats.
I say a nice job because they had the worst record in baseball last year. Tonight's a big night for them. They have the first pick in the draft. And they've played 500 ball, right around 500 ball this year.
Yeah.
Philly has.
Nobody expected them to play that well, and they have been terrific in one-run games. I believe they've won 15 one-run games. Russell hits it to third. Flaherty has it. Tyler Wilson retires the side in order. First time he's done that tonight.
Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to BlueJays.com to choose your hashtag All-Star Game worthy stars and send them to the MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 12th in San Diego. So vote today, vote tomorrow, vote at BlueJays.com/vote. And just so you know, Josh Donaldson currently in third place behind leading vote getter, the Orioles' Manny Machado there among third basemen. Donaldson 300,000 votes behind. So Blue Jays fans, get cracking.
That's right, Hazel, and Blue Jay fans. There are a lot of you every night watching, so make sure you log online to MLB and make those votes. Get the Blue Jays to the All-Star Game.
Worked last year for Josh Donaldson, didn't it?
Don Cherry helped out a lot. Grapes got involved. That's always a good thing. Matt Wieters fouls it into the seats. Wieters is a former All-Star himself. Buck Showalter talking to the bullpen, might be trying to figure out how they're going to continue this game. Tyler Wilson's actually done a nice job of settling down. 1-2, Marcus Stroman gave up a base hit with 2 outs in the 5th, but then got Trumbo to ground out. Marcus got off to a great start this season. He won his first 4 decisions. Actually had 4 no decisions in his first 8 starts. 4 wins, 4 no decisions, and was pitching very well. Donaldson almost at straightaway shortstop, throws off Matt Wieters.
He was keeping everything down. He was pounding the strike zone. He was using that sinker, getting a ton of ground ball outs. The last couple of starts, he's been off line just a little bit, off the mark.
And he's aware of what he needs to do. He's talked about it with you several times, and he and Pete Walker, the pitching coach, Dane Johnson, the bullpen coach, they've all put their heads together.
He's a very bright guy, and he understands, you know, what he can and what he can't do. I contend, though, like we were talking about last inning, that it's about the adjustments. I think the hitters have seen enough of him, and they know what to expect. There's no surprises right now. He just has to concentrate on staying within himself, staying with his strengths, and that's keeping the ball down, hitting his spots.
Pedro Alvarez 1 for 2, base hit and a strikeout. Alvarez was the home run leader in the National League for the Pirates in 2013. He also was an All-Star that season and Silver Slugger. That's a strike as it popped out of the glove of Russell Martin. Alvarez spent 6 seasons with the Pirates, hit 131 home runs while he was there. Hits this ball deep to left field. Saunders is on the run right on the track. He jumps and makes a catch. Nope. That ball is gone. Saunders played it perfectly, but it was over the wall, and Alvarez has his 6th home run. We talk about his power, and their opposite field power.
Yeah, he doesn't need to pull the ball to knock the ball out of the ballpark. That ball was hit hard to left field. And that will probably be it with John Gibbons to the mound.
So Stroman will give way to Joe Biagini, and Marcus hands the ball over with the lead. It's 5-4 Blue Jays. And here comes Joe Biagini. The rookie will face Jonathan Scope. The Jays up 5-4. Marcus Stroman goes 5 1/3. He leaves after the Pedro Alvarez home run. He is in line for the win. He cannot lose it. And now it's up to the bullpen to take it from here. Joe Biagini will be the first out of the Blue Jays bullpen.
This looks like the spot where John Gibbons is going to start to use Joe. Come in an inning and try and get the Blue Jays out of the inning. He's got good stuff, good fastball, good breaking ball. He can cut it. He's very tough on right-handers. Right-handed batters against Biagini this year have only hit .216 against him.
Jonathan Schoop has gone 0 for 2 so far. Biagini making his second appearance against the Orioles. He took the loss in that extra inning game when ball got away from Josh Tolley for a pass ball, and the Orioles won it in extra innings. One of the many bizarre walk-off losses the Blue Jays have had this season. Schoop drills it down the left field line. That's a fair ball. Saunders will play it off the wall. Schoop is headed for second. He'll get there with a stand-up double. For Schoop, that's double number 12 on the season.
And it's only the 12th hit that Biagini's given up to a right-handed batter this year. He just elevated that breaking ball like a slider. Just spun over the middle of the plate. Didn't do much right there. And Schoop has been swinging a hot bat. Tags it into the corner.
A lot of baseball left to be played here tonight. These two teams, they can swing the bats. Ryan Flaherty has grounded out twice to the shortstop. Orioles have 4 runs on 9 hits. The Blue Jays have 5 runs on 6 hits. Good breaking ball. It's 0-2.
That's the pitch that really surprised me. I didn't know Joe had that good of a curveball. Didn't really see much of it in spring training. Then he broke it out to go along with a good fastball and cutting the ball just a little bit more.
Like a changeup there that sailed down and away. The Blue Jays would be well advised to keep the lead. The Orioles bullpen is tough. Zach Britton, the closer, and Brad Brock has taken over for the injured Darren O'Day, and back into their bullpen is really tough. Orioles bullpen has 22 saves, and they have the best ERA among American League relief corps. Their bullpen ERA is 2.65. They don't give up much.
Balanced. Everybody knows their job out there, and they've got a very good closer.
That ball misses down and away. It's 2-2 to the number 9 hitter. Adam Jones is on deck. He's hitting in the leadoff spot, and he's scored 2 runs already tonight. Same kind of hitter in the leadoff spot as the Blue Jays have.
Power hitter, an experienced hitter. Got to get this guy right here.
He's going to slice into the seats. Just off the inside corner. You can see pitch number 7 just missed. So it's a full count, 1 out. Schoop's at second. He walked from a breaking ball and walked him, and it's going to bring Adam Jones to the plate. Marcus Stroman started and walked Jones to start the ball game, but then did a pretty good job of minimizing the damage over those 5 in the 3rd innings.
There was a couple of innings that he threw the ball really well. In the 4th inning and in the 5th inning, he was making solid pitches. Got off to a bit of a rough start tonight, but this is a deep lineup. The Orioles are a good team, and Marcus can't lose it. He can win it. He's in line with the win if the Blue Jays can hold it.
Adam Jones is 1 for 2 with a walk. He scored a couple of runs. He hits this ball deep to center, but Pilar's got room. Scope is tagging. The throw goes to second. Flaherty will hold it first. Jones retired on the fly ball to center. So now there are 2 outs. Young-Soo Kim. He got hit by a pitch in the 3rd and scored. He lined out to center his last time up.
Orioles have great balance in their lineup too. With the lefties and the righties, they've got a switch hitter and Wieters and power. Every one of them can touch you up for a home run. There's not a guy in the lineup where you say, I can knock the bat out of his hand.
Kim has been a power hitter prior to coming to the big leagues, but so far this season he has just 1 home run. Kim coming into this game with just 78 at bats. He didn't start the season playing an awful lot. Inside. Joe Biagini came into the ball game with 1 out. Gave up a double to Jonathan Schoop, walked Flaherty, and then gets Jones to fly out. Fly ball to left. Saunders backing up. He gets under it, and that's the inning. Biagini gets out of it. Pedro Alvarez hits a home run. It's a 1-run game. The Blue Jays have the lead 5-4.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Beautiful evening here in Toronto, and the Blue Jays have a 5-4 lead over the Baltimore Orioles. First of 4 games against the front-running Orioles. Kevin Pillar, Devin Travis, and Darwin Barney. Pillar drops a bunt down. Wilson can't make a play. Oh, what a good bunt by Kevin Pillar. He bunted it right off the end of the bat, and that really took the sting out of it.
You know what helped? He got another breaking ball from Tyler Wilson. Another breaking ball, and these are a lot easier. You can see the spin. It starts to go down. All you have to do is get the bat out in front like he does. Look where he starts that bat, right at the top of the strike zone, gets the breaking ball, drops it down. And with his speed, he is aboard as Wilson comes over, tries to field it just a little bit too quick and can't come up with it.
Devin Travis doubled and scored in the second. Boy, the outfit has really bunched it up now. They have moved Kim over even more in left field, trying to take away those balls in the alley.
Devin can hit the ball down the right field line. We've seen that. He can also hit the ball down the left field line. That's where his double went, leading off the second inning, right past Flaherty, the third baseman.
Another breaking ball for the strike.
He has pitched a little bit more effectively since that first inning. Blue Jays got a couple of runs on 3 hits against him. He has gone to that breaking ball just a little bit more.
Fly ball to right. Trumbo on the move. He gets there and makes the catch. Travis is retired. Dylan Bundy was up earlier in the game. Looks like he is standing by to come into the ball game. Tyler Wilson has done a nice job keeping the Orioles within striking distance.
You know, he right there, Buck Showalter is just counting the outs as they get a little bit deeper into this game, looking for the matchups that he wants.
Darwin Barney. Yeah, the Orioles think something might be up. Barney can handle the bat. Pillar, of course, can run. They can play hit and run here.
Done that a couple of times with this combination right here, with Pillar at first base and Barney at the plate. Give him one shot to shoot a ball to right field. Look at the size of that hole on the right side of the infield.
Barney with a long look down at Louis Rivera, the third base coach. High throw, but Davis makes the catch.
You know, I would be a little bit more inclined right now to just let Darwin Barney swing away. He's hitting 320. And if you put the hit and run on, he has to swing, and chances are he's going to make an out. Then you have one shot to drive in the run.
There goes Pillar. Hit and run was on, and Barney fouls off a tough pitch. He got the bat on the ball. That ball was off the plate inside.
He's been giving up his share of base hits, Tyler Wilson. Darwin Barney's hitting 321 coming into this game. If he gets a hit, now you're playing for a big inning. If you do the hit and run and it's a tough pitch and he swings at it and makes an out, now you've got one shot to drive him in.
There's a ball in the alley in right center. Jones is there and makes the catch. Oh, Adam Jones made a terrific running catch over the shoulder to take extra bases away from Darwin Barney. And there's your theory right there.
Yeah,
let him hit.
That ball gets down, and now you can talk about a big inning. But the Gold Glover takes away the base hit. He's shading him to right field, and Barney slices this ball into the gap in full extension. Plucks it out of the air. He's done that a few times against the Blue Jays in his career.
Good play in center, appreciated by Tyler Wilson. He is out of the ball game. Dylan Bundy comes in to face the top of the order, Jose Bautista. Well, that's good news. A big right-hander, 6'7". He comes from the University of Pittsburgh, the Pitt Panther. Jose Bautista takes the first pitch from Dylan Bundy, the new pitcher, into the ball game.
Bundy also was a first-round draft pick for the Baltimore Orioles. He's been battling some injuries, stunning his growth as a player, but he's got a great arm. 16 games this year pitching out of the bullpen. He was a starter in the minor leagues. He was a #1 pick in 2011, 4th overall. Big fastball for Mr. Bundy.
Picked up his first major league strikeout. He struck out Kevin Pillar for his first big league strikeout. Pillar's at first now. Bautista with a 2-1 count. Jose's had a perfect night so far. Had a double and scored in the first, had an RBI single in the second, and walked and scored in the fourth. Bautista now with 40 RBIs. Full count, 2 outs. Pillar at first will be moving on the pitch. Donaldson love to get a at bat here in the 6th. There goes the runner. Bautista takes ball 4. He walks for a second time. He's been on base all 4 times he's come to the plate tonight.
Boy, the discipline to be able to lay off of that tough pitch, and that was a tough one. Down. Still respecting the big fastball.
Bautista's had some problems with his right hip. He has been messing around with it throughout the course of this game. They might be waiting for a pinch runner. It looks like Jose's ready to walk off the field. He's been dealing with a leg issue. We saw him on the bench earlier, up around his groin area.
Yeah, the upper quad area. He's been on base now 4 times. He's made a trip around the bases 3 times. Scored twice. And now John Givens is going to talk to Paul Maurer, the home plate umpire, to let him know what he's planning.
Well, they're looking for a player, and there's Carrera. So Ezequiel Carrera will come on and take over as a pinch runner for Bautista. And that's probably a precautionary move. He's been dealing with that. We saw it on the bench earlier in this ball game. So Carrera in, Bautista out. Jose with a perfect night. On base hole 4 times. He's come to the plate. Josh Donaldson tripled his last time up. His second triple. Actually his third triple of the season. Second in 2 games. It's a 1-run game at 5-4. That speed's starting to come around.
Yeah, it really is, and it's starting to show. And driving the ball to right field. If they throw a slider, we saw the 3-run home run yesterday on the breaking ball. He was good last year when he was hitting balls to right field and then pulling on it. He came up with so many big hits for the Blue Jays last season.
They got a pitch inside. He was out in front of and hammers it into the seats.
There's that breaking ball. Fight off the fastball, pull the breaking ball. Dylan Bundy's got above average command. He's got some pretty good stuff, so you got to figure he's going to be throwing a strike.
Breaking ball in the dirt. Bundy made his debut as a 19-year-old back in September of 2012. Then he missed the entire season in 2013 coming back from Tommy John surgery. He went under the knife June 27, 2013. That's going to be over the Orioles dugout and out of play.
Yeah, he's had all kind of problems with his arm. He also had that platelet-rich plasma injection in April 2013 to try to speed up the process and speed up the healing process. And he's got a big league arm.
He was the 4th overall pick in the 2011 draft. He's still just 23 years old. I think initially the Orioles this season put him in the pen thinking about him being a starter.
Yeah, put him there to protect him just a little bit and manage his innings. Short bursts.
96. Bundy got in just 2 games in 2012. That was his first professional season. Quite a battle going on here. Look at all those pitches to Donaldson. He's had some hittable pitches, but it's 96.
Yeah, I think he's fighting off that fastball. That's why every time he swings, he's a little bit tardy. Well, 96 might have something to do with that, but he's a little bit tardy, hits the ball to the right side. He was way out front on that breaking ball before.
Weeder's going to go talk it over with Dylan Bundy here. Pillar's at second. He had a bunt single to start it. That's the veteran pitching coach, Dave Wallace.
It looked like it might have been a changeup or something that was up.
Tyler Wilson, the starter, went 5 2/3. There's another one of those pitchers using that quick pitch. Donaldson called out on strikes. The Blue Jays strand a pair. Tuesday had a dust-up with the Kansas City Royals. Yordano Ventura hit Manny Machado after he'd thrown at him inside earlier, and Machado goes to the mound, and this turned into an ugly affair. Machado ends up on the ground with Ventura, and both players involved in that fight were suspended. The suspensions were announced today. Ventura received a 9-game suspension, Machado a 4-game suspension, and both players have appealed, so they are still eligible to play.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time that those two had a little dust up like that. Ventura buzzed him a couple of times, and Manny hit the ball hard against him, but that was the first pitch of the inning, and he reached back for a little something extra, and that wasn't right.
High pop-up. Russell Martin, the catcher, is there and makes the catch. Machado goes after the first pitch.
Swing for the fences and save during the DIY Expert Sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
So Joe Biagini gets the first batter here in the top of the 7th, and John Gibbons is going to make a pitching change. Chris Davis is the batter, so he'll go to the lefty, Aaron Loop. getting a little debrief with Pete Walker, talking about his inning of work. He gave up a double, walked a batter, but no runs, and he turns things over to Aaron Loup, who pitched 2/3 of an inning yesterday.
Yeah, faced 8 and 9, got both of those guys out, and then he was replaced. His job right here is to get Chris Davis, the tough left-handed hitter. Limited action for Loup, just off the disabled list, just off of his injury rehab. Davis has faced Aaron 10 times in his career, so he's very familiar with him.
Got 4 hits off of Aaron Loup. Chris Davis this year batting .175 against lefty pitching. He's hit 2 of his 12 home runs against left-handers.
This will probably, because there's home run hitters up and down this lineup for the Baltimore Orioles, probably be his only batter tonight.
Mark Trumbo is next. Big right-handed batter. That's way outside. 3-1 now. Yeah, this is probably a one and done for Loup. There's Trumbo. He has a couple of hits so far in this game.
That's why it's so tough as Gavin Floyd. You see him, he's warming up. That's probably for Trumbo. I don't know if he gets him or if he doesn't get him. I think he's in this ball game.
There's a drive to left center, and this ball is hit deep and gone. Chris Davis, an opposite field home run, and he has hit now 3 home runs against left-handed pitching. And for Davis, that's his 32nd career home run against the Blue Jays.
Tell you, that's his 4th opposite field home run. The leader in the clubhouse is 6. Miguel Cabrera with 6 opposite field home runs, the most in baseball. Chris Davis gets one more closer to him with that drive to left field.
For Davis, his 14th career home run here at Rogers Center, and it's a 5-5 game. Runs tonight, so they have taken the lead in the home run department. 89 home runs. Not only leads the American League, it leads the majors, and they're a powerful, balanced lineup. Pedro Alvarez homered in the 6th, and now Chris Davis against Aaron Loup here in the 7th.
3-1 fastball. It's away, but he's got tremendous power the opposite way. We've seen that a few times in his career. Line drive over that scoreboard in left field has tied this ball game up. Kevin Floyd now will take over and face Mark Trumbo. 21 games this year for Floyd, 2-4, 48 earned run averaging. He has averaged a strikeout an inning. Gavin pitched in yesterday's ball game also. Just one batter.
Struck out Ian Kinsler to end the ball game. Gavin had a tough outing on Monday night in that 11-0 shutout. The hands of the Tigers. Trumbo pops it up. Smoke, a long run down the right field line. He's got room and makes the catch. Well, that's not an easy play. That ball was hit a mile high and a long run down there. So now there are 2 outs. Matt Wieters, a switch hitter. Wieters batting .303 from the left side, .206 from the right side.
And not a lot of success against Gavin Floyd in his career, just a couple of hits.
We mentioned how good the Orioles bullpen is, and they have tied it up now, so it's a battle of the bullpens. John Russell, the bench coach, chatting things up with Buck Showalter, the manager. Fly ball to center. Pilar back. He's got room right on the edge of the warning track. Makes the catch. Wieters is retired. Gavin Floyd comes in and gets the 2 men to end the 7th. But it's a brand new ball game. 5-5.
Don't forget about Blue Jays Country Day, presented by TD. It's this Sunday, June 12th, when the Blue Jays conclude their series with the Orioles. It's a 1:07 p.m. start. Arrive early as the first 20,000 fans receive a Blue Jays plaid hat. Enjoy special performance by country music artist Tim Hicks. And, oh, by the way, Aaron Sanchez, 5-1 on the season. He is your scheduled starter for that game. Yeehaw!
Very good, Hazel. It is a Cowboys Sunday, and of course Aaron Sanchez from Barstow, California. Got a few Cowboys down there.
That was pretty good, Hazel. Done that before.
Middle of the order for the Blue Jays in this 5-5 game. Edwin gets hit on his right hand, and that's not good.
Blue Jays have already lost Jose Bautista tonight. Looked like an apparent leg injury. That is never good when a hitter gets hit on his hands, especially with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Wow, right on top of that right hand. Never like to see that. He starts his swing and he just can't pull his hands in quick enough to get out of the way. Takes it right on the top of his right hand.
There are so many small bones there in your hand and not much protection, and boy, managers cringe every time they see one of their players get hit on their hands or wrists. So the leadoff man's aboard. Michael Saunders had an RBI double in the first. He's 1 for 3. Dylan Bundy came into the ball game with 2 outs in the 6th. He walked Bautista and then struck out Donaldson.
Drop a bunt down right here. He was practicing that today. There was nobody on the left side of the infield. Thank you.
That's a beauty. Bundy off the mound, not in time. I don't understand why people don't do that more. That's a gimme base hit.
And Ryan Flaherty, the third baseman, moved very late before Michael came up. Manny Machado was still out at shortstop. Michael Saunders recognized that and just laid a bunt down. That's an easy base hit. Again, he was practicing it earlier today, and Luis Rivera said, bunt it harder. He bunted a couple of them, and they stayed around home plate. He said, bunt it harder to get it away from the catcher. There's nobody over there, and he gets himself a base hit.
Yeah, once you get it past the catcher and then past the pitcher, you can walk to first. First 2 aboard here for Justin Smoke. Smoke has gone 0 for 3. He lined out in the 3rd, hit a bullet, and Chris Davis made a nice leaping grab of it. Couple of breaking balls. It's quickly 0-2.
High fastballs, slow breaking balls. That's been the pattern from the Baltimore Orioles tonight against Justin Smoke.
Another breaking ball. Nice block by Wieters. Moves around for a big guy. Jason Grilli, newly acquired reliever, is standing by. Looks like he's ready to come into the game.
Looks like he's taken over the 8th inning for the Blue Jays. John Gibbons and Osuna in the 9th.
Now, we have talked about there being some shuffling going on in that bullpen. I can see Bundy working his way back into the rotation. He's got that nasty breaking ball. He's been as high as 96. He looks healthy and ready to go.
It's a big arm to take out of your bullpen. That's their strength right now.
Upstairs with that heater, strikes out Justin Smoke.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
First and second, 1 out now. Russell Martin. Russell's 1 for 2 so far. Blue Jays don't have many hitters that have faced Bundy in the past. Goins, Pilar, Saunders, and Tulowitzki, the only current Blue Jays that have come to the plate against Bundy. Be out of play. Blue Jays have stranded 6 so far in this game. The Orioles, they've left 7 on base. It's a 5-5 game. Wieters got a glove on it, and that keeps the runners at first and second. He just made a nice play on that one.
He saved him a run already.
Yeah.
That's twice this inning. He's been able to pick up that curveball and keep it in front of him. Last time with smoke at the plate, that would have got the runners to second and third, and now that 55-footer is knocked down by Wieters. That runner was at third base. He would have scored.
Wieters won Gold Gloves in 2011 and 2012. Now he's going to have a chat with his young right hand. Edwin Encarnacion got hit by a pitch to start the inning, and Michael Saunders dropped down a beautiful bunt up the third baseline. Smoke struck out. Now Russell Martin with a 2-2 count. That'll run the count to 4.
A little inconsistent with that breaking ball. They got one of these fastballs right here.
You know he's coming at you here. Pilar is on deck. 95. Russell just a little bit late.
He could turn around a fastball. We saw him do that against Craig Kimbrell last time the Blue Jays were here at Rogers Center. But that fastball from Kimbrell was down. That one that he just fouled off was up.
Another fastball. He stays alive. Russell had an RBI single in the first. John Gibbons gave him a 3-0 green light, and he ripped it into center. Fastball was down. Machado goes to second for 1. Back to first. Double play. Bundy gets the double play. 6-4-3 on the double play. We will go to the 8th. It's 5-5. Jason Grilli coming into the ball game. Campbell, Carlos Beltran has a pair of RBIs, as does Alex Rodriguez, as Jamie mentioned, and the Yankees have a 6-3 lead over the Angels. This is Jason Grilli, his 25th appearance of the season, coming in here in the 8th inning.
When the Blue Jays acquired Jason from Atlanta, he was trending upward, meaning he was getting his arm strength and he was throwing up some zeros. His last 7 appearances have been scoreless, just 3 hits and 6 1/3 innings over those 7 appearances. And it looks like John Gibbons is going to put him in that 8th inning role now.
This is his 4th appearance since joining the Blue Jays. He'll deal with a former teammate Pedro Alvarez with the Pirates. Alvarez hit a home run to left center back in the 6th, his 6th home run of the season. Upstairs.
That was against Marcus Stroman. Marcus's last batter of the night. Really, since that 6th inning, is the 4th reliever that the Blue Jays have used.
John Gibbons trying to play matchup. Didn't work with Luke to Chris Davis as Davis hit a home run to left center. But John Gibbons has tremendous respect for the potent Orioles lineup. As we mentioned, they have now hit 89 home runs, most in the majors.
They've only played 58 games. This is game number 59 for the Baltimore Orioles. 59, and they've hit 89.
Scott Coolbaugh next to John Russell. Coolbaugh is the hitting coach for the Orioles. Russell the bench coach. Of course, the manager is Buck Showalter. 3-1 to Alvarez. Fastball, he beat him upstairs, 94. A little bit better fastball there from Grilli. On this draft day, Jason Grilli was a #1 pick of the San Francisco Giants in 1997 out of Seton Hall University. 4th pick overall.
1997.
Wow. He's 39 years old. Had a heck of a career. Oh, he strikes out Alvarez with a nasty breaking ball.
You know, Jason Grilli is smart. He's using all that experience also to get these outs. He led off Alvarez with a breaking ball for strike 1, beat him with a high fastball for strike 2, and then 3-2 throws another breaking ball. That's pitching against a very dangerous hitter.
Jonathan Scope had a double off Joe Biagini in the 6th. Waves at that first pitch. Another good breaking ball from Grilli. Grilli had his best season as a closer in 2013 with Pittsburgh when he saved 33 for the Pirates. Of course, his catcher then was Russell Martin.
And they're on the same page again right here. Look at these two working over these hitters. Bring them both off with breaking balls.
Yeah, they have been in this situation a lot as teammates. Outside fastball hit into the seats. Did he check the appeal down to first? No swing, says Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief. 1-2, 1 out. We're in the 8th. It's a 5-5 game. Another slider he wouldn't chase. Michael Gibbons, the right-hander, has really elevated his status down in their bullpen. He's got a big arm.
Part of that very good bullpen that Baltimore has out there. They're missing Darren O'Day who was their 8th inning setup guy. He is on the disabled list.
2-2. Just barely low. Grilly's made some good pitches in this at bat. Brian Flaherty, number 9 hitter, is on deck. He walks him. A 1-out walk. Really missed with the fastball. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Five game. Brian Flaherty, the number 9 hitter, with Scope at first. Really jumps ahead with a fastball. That ball is drilled down the right side, but it's going to hook into the seats out of play. 0-2. Flaherty's got some power. He has just 1 home run, but that was a Utah Street home run, his 2nd home run completely out of the ballpark in Baltimore.
2nd time that he has done that in his career. Hit one out on the Utah Street. If you're thinking about the Orioles trying to steal runs, they don't have a lot of team speed.
No, they don't run much.
They don't run much. They just sit back and just try and pound you. Buck Showalter's game plan is to put some hits together and wait for that big hit. I don't think Jonathan Scope's going to try and steal. He's only had 2 attempts all year long.
Really crossed him up, took a changeup and strikes out Flaherty. 2 strikeouts for Grilly here in the 8th.
A little bit more veteran savvy right there. Just take a little something off. Let me throw you a pitch that you haven't seen yet in this at bat. Little changeup. Wasn't real happy with the fastball, what you did with my fastball, that prior pitch, hitting it down the right field line. So take a little something off. Had him way out in front.
Well, that is an experienced pitch, reacting to that long, hard foul. Comes back with an off-speed pitch. This is Adam Jones. 1 for 3 tonight.
Last time that Jason pitched was in that 11-0 game in Detroit on Monday. Actually struck out the side in his inning of work. He's got 2 more tonight.
And another good fastball down and away. Grilly now is not going to really overpower you. He's going to locate, make quality pitches. We've seen 3 quality pitches in this inning.
And smart too. Smart. Throw Pedro Alvarez a first pitch breaking ball. And throw a changeup to get another strikeout.
Keeping that ball down very effectively. Marcus Stroman kept the ball down to Jones in the 4th and got a little comebacker to the mound. There goes the runner. Jones hits it down the right side. It's slicing, and that's a foul ball. Well, Scope was moving on the pitch. Once they got to 2 strikes on Jones, Buck Showalter rolled the dice.
Yeah, that's when you roll the dice right there. 2 strikes on Jones. If he happens to get thrown out, then you've got Jonesy starting next inning with a clean count. Scope got a big jump. Luckily, that ball was foul down the right field line. Slicing, bounces off the wall.
So we'll do it again. 1-2. Of it. Boy, Grilly did a good job. He held the ball just a little bit longer to freeze Scope in case he had thoughts of running.
Do that, just freeze him by holding the ball. You could see all the experience now from Jason Grilly against these Baltimore Oriole hitters, base runners. Been in pro ball, what, 20 years?
Came up in 2000 with the Florida Marlins. Made 1 start that season. 5 more starts in 2001, and didn't get back to the big leagues until 2004 with the White Sox.
Token throw.
Well, he's really in control. He's not going to make a mental mistake, that's for sure. Right inside. That's one of the rare pitches he's thrown inside this inning. That'll keep Jones from diving out over that plate. Now they can back it up. They can come right back inside again.
Yeah, because what's Adam Jones thinking about? Well, if he came inside, he must be going away with something now.
Breaking ball hit in the air. Carrera calls for it. He's there, and Grilly gets out of it. The Orioles leave a base runner. It's a 5-5 game as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. Brought to you by the all-new Honda Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
7th inning, Chris Davis. He has done this against the Blue Jays in the past. He goes the other way, sends this ball over the wall in left field. That ties it up. That's where we sit at 5-5. Chris Davis has tonight's drive of the game.
Dylan Bundy has been terrific coming out of the bullpen. This is his third inning of work. He's allowed 2 bunt singles. That's been it. Pilar dropped down a bunt. Excuse me, that was not off Bundy. Bundy came in with 2 outs in this 6th. He walked Bautista and then struck out Donaldson. Bundy has given up just the bunt single to Saunders.
Still throwing hard, too. I guess Buck Showalter sends out Bundy because they're 7-8-9. 7-8-9 in the Blue Jay order, and if he runs into trouble, if a guy gets on, he's got some backup behind him.
Pilar fouls it back. Brian Dunsing, a left-hander, has gotten up with Michael Givens. There's double barrel action for the Orioles. Pilar called out. Strike 3. Like an off-speed pitch. I'm not sure that was a breaking ball. Something on the inside part of the plate for the strikeout.
He'd been bouncing that curveball all night. This time he comes back with it, gets it up. Evan gives up on it, thinks it's high, but it's a strike. That is his 3rd strikeout tonight for Bundy.
There's a curveball to get ahead of Devin Travis. Outside, 1-2. Roberto Osuna loosening up for the Blue Jays. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 in the Orioles lineup in the top of the 9th. Popped up off speed pitch. Davis, the first baseman, makes the catch in foul territory. For the Orioles in the top of the 9th, it's Kim, Machado, and Davis. And it really doesn't make too much difference where you are in their lineup.
No. This game, though, has settled down, hasn't it? How about the first 3 innings? It's 4-3 Blue Jays after 3. The bullpens have taken over and calmed it down a little bit.
Darwin Barney takes a first pitch strike. In case you're just joining us, Jose Bautista left the game after drawing a walk to start his 6th inning at bat. He walked and then left the game with right thigh tightness. That's what we've been told, and he is listed as day-to-day. 0-2, Darwin Barney in the hole.
This guy generates a lot of power from his lower half, doesn't he? Got those big legs, eyes. You can see why he was a #1 pick from the Orioles in 2011. He really uses his lower half to his advantage.
Ground ball. Machado hits a chest high hop. That'll do it. We will go to the 9th. It's a 5-5 ball game. Orioles and Blue Jays tied up. Roberto Osuna coming on to face Kim, Machado, and Davis.
Introducing an exciting new way to stream sports. Sportsnet now lets you live stream your favorite sports without cable TV. All you need is the internet. Start your free trial today. Visit sportsnet.ca/now. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. A gorgeous evening here at Rogers Center, and the new pitcher into the ball game is Roberto Osuna, the closer, comes on to start the top of the ninth in a 5-5 game.
28th game for Osuna this season. 13 for 15 in save opportunities. John Gibbons was asked before the game today, do you have any concerns at all about Osuna? Can you use him? He said, sure, I have no concerns at all. He said Boston hit him, barreled up some balls, but he's been pitching a lot. I understand that, but just 3 out of the last 8 games Roberto's been in, and the plan here is to hold the Orioles and then try and win it in the bottom of the ninth.
Gets ahead of Kim with a first pitch fastball. Hyun-Soo Kim is 0 for 3. He was hit by a pitch in the third. That's a line drive to the alley in left center. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Kim is headed for second, and he'll get there and stop with a leadoff double here in the ninth, his 6th double of the season.
Boy, that was a nice piece of hitting right there. Didn't try to do too much with that ball. And had a little Ichiro Suzuki in that swing right there, where he's pulling off of it a little bit. It looked like a breaking ball. Pulls off of it. You can see that lower half is starting to go, and he stays right with it and slashes it to left field for extra bases.
Kim out of the ball game. He gives way in favor of the pinch runner Joey Rickard. Rickard, the rookie with good speed, good outfielder, got off to a good start swinging the bat. Now he has lost playing time to Kim. So here is Manny Machado, and Machado is 2 for 4 tonight. Obviously, this is a tough part of the Orioles lineup. Fouled off the glove of Russell Martin. Zach Britton, the closer. We mentioned the Orioles have 22 saves out of their bullpen, and Britton is their big closer. Britton is 18 for 18. But right now there's nothing to close.
That's just because they got that leadoff double. Doesn't mean anything.
Kind of waves at that pitch way outside. Manny Machado is 2 for 4 against Roberto Osuna. And the entire brain trust of the Orioles standing in the dugout in this 5-5 game. Bouncing ball to short. Barney will go to first for the out. Rickard did a good job of moving up on that slow bouncing ball.
That's why you put the speed in there. Normally when you're at second base, you're going to make that ball go to your left, but Rickard read that ball was a slow hopper. The shortstop was going to come in, and it comes into third base, moves up on a ground ball to the shortstop.
So Machado moves the runner up. Kim credited with that leadoff double. Now the infield has to come in with Chris Davis. First pitch changeup. Davis guessing fastball, and he guessed wrong. Sheepy smile on his face.
Yeah, you mentioned that Osuna has pitched against him in the past, but I don't know if they've seen the changeup and the slider like we've seen this year.
Fly ball to center. Rickard's tagging. Pilar setting up for the throw. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Chris Davis with the sac fly to center has given the Orioles a 6-5 lead.
Well, if you're an Oriole fan, you couldn't draw it up any better. Leadoff double, get the pinch runner in there who can run, advance on a ground out, and score on a short fly ball. This ball's just muscled into center field by Davis. Doesn't take a big full swing. Pilar gets behind the ball normally very accurate, but that ball, they really didn't have a chance to get Ricker. He just runs too well.
Chris Davis with a big night. 3 RBI night. Couple of sac flies, a solo home run. 6-5 Orioles. And now Britton knows exactly what's ahead of him. He's the closer in their pen. Trumbo's late on that fastball. Trumbo's had 2 hits tonight. Manny Machado's had a pair of hits. Chris Davis has had 2. Trumbo with 2, and now Alvarez also with 2 hits. It's a balanced attack.
It's a tough lineup. Tough lineup to get through.
Good pitch. 0-2. Top of the order for the Blue Jays will come to the plate in the bottom of the 9th. But remember, Bautista left the game in the 6th. Ezekiel Carrera is in his spot in the leadoff spot. Then Donaldson and Encarnacion. Trumbo strikes out. But Chris Davis delivers the sac fly off Osuna in the 9th. The Orioles have a 6-5 lead. Here comes Britton. Britton making his 26th appearance. You see his numbers, and they're impressive across the board. 18 for 18 in saves, and the hitters haven't managed much at all against Zach Britton.
Especially lefties at 0.59, and he just comes right after you with that fastball, a little bit of a breaking ball. Zach Britton in for the 26th time.
Joey Rickard, the pinch runner who scored the go-ahead run. He's in defensively in left. Nolan Reimel takes over in right for Mark Trumbo. Ezekiel Carrera replaced Bautista as a pinch runner in the 6th. Bautista led with tightness in his right thigh. Dylan Bundy, 2 1/3 of 1-hit relief. He was terrific. 3 strikeouts.
Was he ever? He's in line for the win now. By shutting down the Blue Jays, he only gave up 1 hit in 2 1/3 innings. Britton trying to save it. You mentioned his 18 saves, 18 consecutive saves to begin the season, has tied the team record for consecutive saves to start a season. He ties Chris Ray, who did it in 2006.
Carrera fouls it off. It's 1-2.
And that's his best pitch right there.
Tyler Wilson, the starter. He did okay after a rocky beginning to his outing. Gave up 3 runs on 3 hits in the first, a run in the second. But he pitched 5 1/3, 5 2/3 actually. Alan Porter down at third said no swing. He checked his swing on that breaking ball. Carrera's gotten some big hits for the Blue Jays over the course of the season. He also had a 4-hit game as a starter.
He's hit lefties too. He's done a good job against left-handed pitching this year.
Bouncing ball. Scope comes in quickly. Throws to first. 1 down. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Navalka Osman. Thank you very much. That's coming up right after this game, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. Josh Donaldson, he has gone 1 for 3 tonight with a walk. He's driven in a run with a triple. He chops this one off home plate. That's a fair ball. Donaldson standing at home plate arguing that the ball hit him, but Wieters comes out from behind the plate and throws Donaldson out. John Gibbons is coming out to talk to Paul Nart, and the home plate umpire is explaining the situation.
Asking if it hit. I don't think this hit Josh. I think it hit the plate. Right off the plate. It didn't hit Josh again. That's a fair ball.
Yeah. It's a fair ball. Hitting home plate, went straight up in the air and landed in fair territory, and Wieters throws him out. 2 up, 2 down. They went in Encarnacion. He had a sac fly in the 3-run first inning. Got hit by a pitch in the 7th. His last time up.
You know, the thing about Britton is he doesn't give up home runs. That's the thing that can really hurt you. He's given up only 1 this season. He's second among relievers in ground ball efficiency, basically with that 1 pitch. Hard sinker.
Flaherty makes a nice play at third, and that's the ball game. Zach Britton picks up his 19th save of the season. He's perfect, 19 for 19, and the Orioles with a run in the top of the 9th win the opener 6-5. Chris Davis, a 3 RBI night.
You know, that's what the Orioles do. They keep you close, and then they are able to manufacture a run, turn it over to the bullpen, and they win another game. As they are first in the American League East. They hit a couple of more home runs, and the Blue Jays don't have to regroup because we get them for 3 more in this series. Young-Soo Kim with a leadoff double in the 9th. That was the decisive base hit. The Orioles take the opener. We'll be back tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. Here's Sportsnet Central. Ken and Ivanka, take it away.